Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's masterclass. Hello to Monica. Monica is live with us from Bucharest in Romania. Monica has more than 3,500 hours of individual and team coaching, and she observed that every human interaction is unique, unrepeatable, and beyond technique. Monica is a master certified coach, and she is also a mentor for those who would like to become a coach. And she is running an international coaching federation program. It's a certified program called Be Coach. And she offers manager a people experience program. And yeah, Monica develops programs for changing the organizational culture through a coaching mindset. Having said that, I welcome Monica. And Monica, the floor is yours. We are listening to a masterclass, Effective Communication in the Workplace. Monica, go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you, Petra. Thank you for this nice introduction and for being here and for inviting me here. And thank you for the challenge with this theme you addressed me. I know we were talking about this masterclass last year, so we had a little bit of time to prepare. And well, I will just share this perspective, my perspective on this theme, effective communication in the workplace, which is, well, was a little bit challenging for me because it's a general theme, you know, and everybody is concerned about how can we be more effective in communicating in the workplace. And I think what is unique here is, you know, which is the angle you approach the theme, you know. So I was trying to give my angle in approaching this theme, and well, my perspective is from, as you said, a coach, an individual and team coach. I'm working with as I say, you know, people in management positions and not with positions themselves, you know. I don't work with, you know, the managerial position. I'm working with people who are doing this role. So I'm from this perspective, I'm going to share this theme. And also my perspective is, yeah, based on my experience. So yes, my experience is limited in time. I have only, well, 15 years of working intensively with companies, with important organizations. So, you know, what I'm saying right now, I think it will be improved with my observations in the future. So it's like a picture of what I observed, you know, while working with teams and people, you know, with managers in the last 15 years. So yeah, as I said, and as we see, you know, on this theme, effective communication in the workplace, I will take it and I will approach it from the practitioner perspective, you know, what I observed. Well, if I prepared some slides, and I think there are 17, but for me it's you know, a little bit difficult only to present slides if I don't have questions. So as Andrea said in the chat, if you have questions, well, please address them or whatever, or maybe we can comment on what I will present, because some of the ideas, maybe for sure they are not new for you. Some of the ideas might be challenging, and who knows, maybe you can have some questions about them, and maybe we can have a dialogue on them. Let's see. Well, first of all, yes, I was defining my perspective. From what perspective I'm going to say, what I'm saying, what I'm presenting here. The topic, so the content will be with this point, the following points: the manager challenges before and after 2020, because I think 2020 was a pillar, a milestone in our existence, and also in organizational existence. Rethinking the manager role, and here I will tell you a few things about what I observed. I liked very much, the comparison with the web, how web changed from 1.0 to 3.0. So I made a comparison from Team 1.0 to Team 3.0. I will present you model of changing the conversations in a team, and of course I will have some practical considerations. So what I've noticed, what we had before and after March 2020, I marked here March 11, 2020, because for us, we were, I am in Romania, so, from 11th of March was a great milestone in our existence. What I've noticed, working with as a coach, with some issues people were coming to were addressing in our coaching dialogue, were related with time management before 2020, and of course time management we had in 2020 after 2020. But it was a little bit different, because if time management before 2020 was related with we don't have too much time, for holidays, time with friends and family, which was also related with work-life balance. Now time management is even an existential problem, because people are working all the time. I had clients who were working at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. They had to adjust their program to, I don't know what kind of organizational changes they had. So it was quite difficult, to have an equilibrium between work-life balance was completely changed, and an equilibrium between family and profession. Conflict management inside the team, and here again we have conflict management in virtual meetings, and it was interesting, for me to address this and to make people reflect on what is going on. Positioning, this individual positioning inside and outside the team before and after. But here I think it was an interesting change, because sometimes people or managers didn't, or even team members didn't have the possibility to meet each other. They only met in virtual teams, in virtual meetings. They were only meeting virtually, so they didn't have the chance to meet each other. In most of the cases with the teams and the managers I was working with. Delegation, information management and communication. We had also after 2020, but after 2020. There were some issues which were coming out, and they were new for my experience. I had motivation issues, emotional control, anxiety, personal, things, and a little bit, uncertainty, and sometimes, lack of motivation. I would say, I don't think in the last 2 years, I think I was hearing a lot of, I don't know what to do. I have money, but I don't know what, I'm not motivated. I don't know what is my motivation. I don't know if I want to do this, but I don't know what to do instead, and things like that. I know this slide is a little bit too complicated, but I want to mix my observation with something with the observation of, Linda Grattan is a business theorist. And she was writing an article in 2016, rethinking the manager's role. And she was actually, addressing 4 points, which was quite interesting for me by that time. And I think we are living them today. She said, well, constant improvements in robotics and machine learning in conjunction with the automation of routine tasks make management a more unclear practice. So what is a manager and what does the manager do? Another point is that, well, of course, self-assessment tools, particularly those that enable people to diagnose what they do and what they don't do, can help employees pinpoint their own productivity issues. So why do we need watchful eyes of a manager? Technology tips the axis of power from the vertical to horizontal, while learn from a manager when peer-to-peer feedback and learning can create stronger lateral forms of coaching. And another one, of course, is that rise of platform-based businesses has everyone excited about platforms. By that time, it was Uber, and only one. And how they can create a fertile arena for new businesses to be built while also acting as a conduit for flexible ways of working. So these 4 points, together with what I observed, I would like to go further, I think, and also, I would like to stress out the challenges of working remote, because that's an interesting also observation from my part. And I observed that working remote has an increased responsibility in harmonizing family management with professional demands and projects. It's quite difficult, to mingle this, defocus, I said, the attention. I think there are a lot of detractors when we are at home and working, bringing work at home, because before 2020, I used to say, we were bringing some family issues to the office. Now we are bringing the office to the family. So there can be a lot of detractors. Presence with the only contribution or no contribution in virtual meetings. I think it's not something uncommon, when you have a meeting and you have only people who are, only with a name or without face, and you don't know exactly how to present or how to adapt your message to the audience, and if the people are interested or not, or if they have questions or not, or if there are some challenges in their thought that can be addressed or whatever. Lacking of support from the group, yes, and meeting peers exclusively virtually. As I said, there were people who didn't have time or didn't have the opportunity to meet their peers. And there were some teams who are working like this, and I was assisting them. So a manager role requires more skills than before in managerial capabilities, which means to build rapid trust, coach, empathize, and inspire. Management practices, which is actually now forming teams, objective setting, and conflict resolution. So I think, yeah, in this, I think that there is an increased pressure on a manager role now. And this is something, of course, it's an opportunity, but if this would be done properly, the role is done properly. So I would like to propose you a change in the paradigm of management. And I know here each time when I said this, I had some struggles with the people who are challenges of thoughts, you know, when with the people who are saying, come on, we have to motivate people. I sat here and I'm still, you know, keeping this on the PowerPoint. We cannot motivate people, but we can change the context. Because I think, you know, it's an easy thing to say, I'm going to motivate you. But actually, the idea is, I don't have control on that. You know, that's a result maybe of something I'm going to do constantly and consistently, you know, for my behavior with you, you know, but this is a result I can aspire to. So I cannot motivate. I can change the context where people feel motivated. And yeah, I know it's maybe when people say, you know, I have to motivate my team, sometimes I stop them. So we can change the context. Yeah, this is what we can do. When combining personality with the context is always stronger. And I'm going to explain this. That means that the team interaction models the individual personalities. What means that, you know, I can be, and this is something we can see easily. If somebody is very good in this team and has a very good performance, and of course, maybe he will or she will change the place or whatever in another team, and there the performance is decreasing. It's the same person, but the performance is decreasing because the environment, you know, the system is not allowing that performance. So I think, yeah, the context is always stronger than the personality. And the third thing, people have profound human needs, which are augmented after 2020. They need trust and be trusted, self-achievement, respect the others and be respected. And I would say a lot of things here, validate and be validated. So they need some recognition and well, and also they need to feel that they count. So the shift in focus and management is easy. I would say that till 2020, we were thinking from the manager. A manager is a person who is focusing on results with people. But now I think the focus is, a manager is a person who focuses on people who achieve results. So, and I think we have to be a little bit serious with this paradigm because we are living it. We are living it. And I think we are going to see it more and more. So what a manager can do, you know. Therefore, the role of a manager, and here I had some metaphors. I said that manager is the catalyst for individual and team performance. You know, it's you know, it comes from the chemistry. I like to use some metaphors from different areas of activity, you know, so that people can understand better. I said that the manager is a convolution filter for sound, which is, you know, a convolution filter, and I think this is something I discovered with my colleague, Horia. It removes the noise and leaves only the clear sound. You know, it's something you used when you are recording, for instance, an orchestra. Yeah, you are a symphony, and you have to use something for recording, this device, which is a convolution filter, which puts away the noise and leaves only the clear sound. So this is what a manager should do, and I will maybe later on explain. It's a companion for the people he manages, which brings the best out of them. I'm just moving over a bit because I don't see what I was writing here. And then magnifier, you know, to focus on important details and leave the others aside. Well, what I saw is, you know, there is this good intentions trap for managers who don't know their boundaries, and I think it is very important to know the boundaries, because knowing your boundaries and acting inside them is very important. If you are doing more or less than your role requires, you destabilize your team and sometimes the whole organization. Most of the conflicts and time management issues come from disrespecting the boundaries. And I'm going to show you, you know, a few examples of, you know, role confusions because of disrespecting the boundaries, and maybe sometimes not understanding exactly what you're doing. For instance, transforming a business issue into a personal one, which is very common, means that there is a confusion there. You evolve to solve the problems which do not belong to you and consider that you have been proactive, but actually this approach actually creates another problem. You know, you solve the problem, but you create a lot of other problems. Keeping yourself busy with activities with little or no value added and neglecting the important activities which require a sharp attention, or calling for meetings with a lot of persons involved without irrespective of the agenda of the meeting, and irrespective of what you want, you know, from that. But we have to be there. So I think these are a few examples of role confusion and maybe disrespecting the boundaries. So I made this comparison, you know, with from Web 3.0 to a Manager 3.0, because I think this is the time we are living now. I was impressed by the presentation of the last week about the blockchain. So where she used this, you know, well, yeah, she was explaining the web from 1.0 to 3.0. So I was using it. From 1 to 1.0 is only read-only, yeah. And this is what is happening when you have a Manager 3.0 and a communication one is 1.0 and a Manager 1.0. In a communication 1.0, it's directive, yeah. It's tell the people what to do, and of course use feedback. The agenda of the meeting is mostly based on the tasks to do and action plans creating by the one who is calling the meeting. The conversations are transactional and only transactional. And I think I had a lot of experiences with directive teams, 1.0 teams, so they are transactionals, all of them. You don't hear a question. You don't hear. The engagement of the participants are merely encouraged. Web 2.0, as we were talking last week, is read and write, and of course we have here, you know, communication 2.0, which is a participative way, telling the people what to do, listen to them, give and receive feedback. This is what a Manager 2.0 is doing. The agenda of the meeting is mostly based on exchanging the information about the tasks in progress, about the plans creating by the one who calls the meeting. The conversations are informational and transactional, and the engagement of the participants is encouraged as long as they are asked about the status of the project and needs. Well, when I have a Web 3.0, and this is autonomy, you know, community, it is about, yes, about how can we work together, how can we contribute together, what can we bring together so that we can have a better result. This is the communication 3.0, which is delegative. Establish professional personal agreements, creates autonomous team structures, and use feed forward. This is what Manager 3.0 is doing. The agenda of the meeting is based on the needs of the participants. The conversations are based on dialogue, and I think that's a key word. And I think, you know, a dialogue is completely different from a debate, discussion, or even a conversation, a relaxed conversation. The engagement of each participant is encouraged within the boundaries of an agenda. Yes, we are not going to talk everything. We are going to talk in the boundaries of the agenda. The dialogue is centered on results. The group encourages collaboration, recommendations, creative thinking, and establishes its own measurement of success. Well, it's of course, it's wonderful to have it, but how can we have it? So how is the structure? What is the structure of a 3.0 team? Well, it is interesting, you know, when you have people, especially in a virtual meeting. I've noticed that very often that the same people are talking inside the meetings, during the meeting. So they are not, people who have low profile are more introvert, or yeah, they don't feel like stepping in. They don't feel like telling something. Only if they are asked, or they have a valuable maybe information to add. But sometimes, you know, they are only being there just to mark their presence, but not with much value added for them. So it is interesting when you have this kind of also virtual meetings to have some roles there. Maybe the roles will be like who is going to drive the decision, who is going to keep the time, who is going to maybe to be the host or to be the moderator or whatever. That worked very well even when we were the meetings were with people with physical presence, also in virtual meetings. And of course, rotate the roles from one another meeting. And I said here, I like to play with words and acronyms, use the coach approach of the meeting. Of course, it's a play. I was playing with the words only to make the structure, and of course to have an acronym as with what I'm doing. But I think it's very valuable when you are asking the right questions. And let's see. These are the role of the meetings I was telling you about, and maybe other roles of the meeting, because I had people who are teams who decided to have even other roles. For instance, I remember of a team who was telling that, you know, we like to analyze very much. So we will have a role of stop analyzing. And they were, each meeting, they had a guy, of course, from them, who was, had this, he had this role to stop analyzing, to say, stop it, please. We are analyzing this for 7 minutes right now. Let's stop it. We had another meeting, another team had another role. They said, you know, we don't quite play. And I think we need a little bit to play because we are too serious here. So they invented for them, and they had a role among them, a guy who is telling who was telling the jokes in the context. You know, it was very difficult because I wanted to train this ability to be a little bit to make fun a little bit, you know, because they're engineers, technical. So yeah, so there might be other roles. The coach model of meeting, as I said, I was playing with the name because I think what is important is what are the questions and how will we address and how will we work in a meeting? What will be the structure of the meeting so that the meeting will start on time and end on time? So I set here the contract. Of course, it's a metaphorical contract. What is the agenda of the meeting? How much time do we spend on each topic? These are some contractual agreements, yeah, for the team. What's our agreement? But an agreement about how will we work together? Maybe some teams decide to listen to each other till the end, or maybe, well, to contribute all of them, you know, to the topic. It doesn't matter if they the contribution is relevant or not, and not to judge the contribution or whatever, you know. It's not like a brainstorming meeting. It's about, you know, give us our contribution. What do you think about it? You know, who are the persons who are running the meeting today? Because the roles, of course, which are rotating, must be from the beginning established. Objective. What do we all need to take out of this meeting? It's very important to establish what do we all need to take out of this meeting, because sometimes the understanding is different from person to person, and it takes a little bit of time to harmonize it. Assumptions. It's what are the essential inputs we need to take into account for each topic. And I would like to bold the essential, because sometimes, you know, time is wasted when we are talking about unessential things, and unessential things are related with something which is not now. So if it happened, or maybe it will happen, I don't know when, it's not relevant for the moment. The essential is difficult to establish sometimes. And concise, what are the clear actions we all and individually assume after this meeting? And because the age didn't come out well, you know, and I think there is, you know, I wrote there a Hansel. A Hansel is a little gift you take or you for good luck at the beginning of the new year. And I use this metaphor for well, the last word of the coach model. What was this? How was this meeting useful for me? How was this meeting useful for each of us? Because if people don't take out something useful from each meeting, they will not feel like, yeah, they don't feel the meeting as useful for them. So I think it's very important, and I saw that in virtual meetings, when you are saying, when you are yeah, when you are verbalizing, how was this meeting useful for you? What was the important? How was this adding value to your to what you're doing, to your work? People are much more motivated, let's say like that, to come back because it's that these are their words. It's nobody's putting them in their mouth. Well, I usually prepare a 3.0 team, and that's my let's say my practice here. I run a 2 days program of people experience. I said here a people experience program for the team members. I didn't use a training word because, you know, when you're using training, people usually expect a normal training, and this is not a normal training, because people are actually trained or to listen, and so listening is not only a concept, or is not let's say how it's used in study cases, but they actually listen to each other, and that's an experience they will have in this training. And also, you know, paying attention to the way people think and not to the content. So to the way a problem is or to the way they are addressing a problem, to the way and not to the problem itself. And also, of course, they are trained to ask open questions, simple, very simple and open questions with impact. And in my experience, I observed that it's quite difficult, you know, to address open, simple, neutral, and active questions. And this is what you know, I practice with the managers I meet. And also, of course, there are 3 to 6 meetings which are assisted by the coach, and which make a huge difference in the work of the team, and how the team is working. And while it's actually a new architecture, and with their inputs, with the team, with the participants' inputs, they are developing together, co-developing together, so that to have meetings with meaning for them. And that works especially in virtual meetings. I've seen it. Of course, I have a limited experience for maybe 1 year and a half, but I saw it working. And sometimes, you know, people decide that at the beginning of the meeting, we can, well, let's say, take, I don't know, maybe 7 minutes to say hello, let's say like that, you know, instead of jumping into transactional conversation. Or then, you know, they decide to, I mean, they know their roles, who is going to drive the decisions, who is going to keep the time, who is going to be the moderator sometimes, you know, to write on the chat or whatever, who is going to do whatever other roles they decided. And then, you know, just participate, all of them. So this is what I'm doing. Of course, I'm assisting teams with that. And yeah, this is my contact for addressing questions, and well, and I can answer to that. That's my presentation. I know I see here Elena Raluca. Yeah,
thank you so much. That was an excellent presentation. And I'm so happy that we're recording it so we can share it with all those who couldn't make it today. Monica, I do have a question, and basically this question comes from both sides, from the employee side as well as from the manager side. Is working remote means that a manager, or a lot of managers, they don't trust their employees, so they lose their control.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? And of course, we also have to say that is then always in the newspapers like this. A guy who was in a call center, he called himself automatically 100 times a day so that he could spend his free time, and all the colleagues had to answer the question because he automated calls to himself. He really didn't work. However, my question is, how do we overcome the hurdle that a lot of managers think that people who are working from home, they can't control them? How do you deal with that?
Well, you know, control is an illusion. Yeah, if we agree that about that. So you know, if a person comes to me and say, you know, I can't control them, and you know, I know that they are doing whatever, yeah, I first say that, you know, control is an illusion. The question is, you know, what exactly do you want? If you were, let's say, controlling everybody in the world and also your team, how the things were looking like, you know, what is what are they doing exactly, you know, what do you want to see them doing? And then, of course, you know, coming back, you know, what depends on you to do, because there are a lot of that's when you want to control a person, this is the first thing to your you're going to be frustrated very soon, because you can't do it. That so controlling, yeah, as I said, it's an illusion, and it has to be reshaped in your mind.
I love this. I love your sentence. Controlling is an illusion.
Controlling is an illusion.
I really remember the good old days where you just had to sit in the office, regardless what you were doing, because you have to be there. This 8 to 5 stuff. So I think is so to also encourage the others to maybe participate in this conversation. Monica, would you go back to this coaching slide? I think it was number 15, your coaching slide. And I also do have a question. I do have one more question from more side, you know, what do you do? Do you have any tips to motivate people who say, well, I'm so tired with these online meetings? That was in the beginning of your presentation.
Well, usually, you know, when somebody is tired of these meetings, you know, maybe that's a good indicator that something must be changed, you know, because if there is an input like this, it's useless to address only the person. You have to look, as I said, the context is creating the personal involvement. So what is the context, what created this reaction, you know? So the idea is, what do we need to change in our working together so that people will find themselves in the meeting, think that they are valuable, their input is valuable, they are, and they should wait for this meeting, you know, to happen. So I cannot control them, you know, the personal demotivation of taking part of the meeting, but I can change the context. That's a good indicator for me. If I'm a manager who is, well, running a meeting and has this input for one of the employees, I should look a little bit of what's the opportunity here. I mean, what do I need to change here? Because if there is one, maybe there are others who feel the same. So I need to change something, you know. And I saw it in, you know, I had this experience when we were integrating the roles in the meeting, when the people were trained to listen to each other, when the people were rotating the roles in a meeting, you know, after 6 or meetings, you know, this symptom didn't appear anymore, because people were seeing themselves, they were validated by the meeting. You know, when you are driving the decision, it's difficult to drive the decision, to have this role, you know, I'm driving the decisions in the meeting, because I have to ask questions, I have to listen, I have to, well, to work with each individual's mind a little bit, you know, I have to model, to shape an input useful for the decision, or what do we have to do here together. And I'm having now this role, you are going to have tomorrow this role, so everybody we are going to have this role, and we understand how difficult it is. So in the end, we are all the same. So it's a community. And I think this is what a Manager 3.0 is doing, you know, it's creating communities. And that's the manager shift we are living right now, you know, from telling, participative, you know, it's creating a community. It's I can't complain of my peers, of my colleagues, of the people I manage. If I'm complaining about them, I have to complain about me.
Sure. No, it's a good idea. I will also change roles. So Andrea, I don't know whether she's still there. She's there, but she switched off her phone, her camera. She will next time she moderates, but she already did it several times. So Andrea, you know what's going on, and also just changing roles. For those who are participating here today, do you have questions for Monica? Oh, it's like in the school, no one wants to start. Andrea, maybe you have one?
Yeah, I'd be interested to know kind of what you feel, what's the biggest struggle like people come to you with in terms of communicating in the workplace? Has there been like a particular issue, like Petra said, has it been the motivation, or has it been like participation in meetings now that most people are virtual? Like, what's the biggest struggle people have come to you with around communicating in the workplace? And on the same vein, is that kind of managers coming to you, or is it people from every level coming, you know, who have come to you to possibly discuss this topic or how they can motivate their teams?
Well, so first of all, yeah, I'm working with managers individually. Yeah, so I have these coaching sessions individually, and also I work with teams. So from, I think the most common thing I was, well, heard repeating, it doesn't matter from what, let's say, from what culture that manager came, was this, yeah, the common topic was I feel disconnected. I don't feel myself understood. There is a lack of communication between me and my superior or something like that. That's the most common thing. I don't know how to, you know, I'm telling people what to do and they don't hear me. They don't understand me or something like that. So because they are also meeting virtually. So that's the most common, I think, issue I heard in the past 8 months or something like that. Now, coming back for the teams I was working with, the most common issue is, well, you know, when you're working in an organization, you are a little bit, you're educated to behave in a certain way. So if somebody is telling you something to do, you say yes, of course. But in the end, you don't do it. You know, so or maybe the deadline is not respected or whatever. So the most common thing it was how to change the conversations and yes, implemented these roles, you know, maybe. When I'm working with a team, I'm not, you know, I'm asking them what would be useful for you to have. That's my first question. I mean, what would be useful to do? How would you all, you know, see an ideal meeting? And usually they say, when we all participate, you know, we all say what we have to say. The subjects are interesting for all of us, and things like that, you know, because sometimes I'm called in a meeting and I just have to be there and I don't know what to do and things like that. The agenda should be sent, you know, to see it, what our contribution is. So it's the same as before. This didn't change. But what changed was that, you know, loneliness of being, I mean, somebody's, you know, I saw meetings where people were like, okay, we were gathering here, you know, so what's the topic, or what do we have to do? Huh? Who is going to tell what? You know, this silence, you know, and that's, it's a little bit embarrassing, you know. Okay, so what do we have to do here? Okay, I'm going to tell you, you know, things like that. So involvement of the others is very important. The involvement, it's and how do you do it, you know? So that was an issue. So what I was doing was to train them in listening first, and to, because, you know, asking open questions, as I said, it's not easy at all. Mm-hmm. It's not easy at all. And what's your focus of your open question? What do you do with them? What do you want to do with them? What's your intention with them? You know?
Yeah, very true. Yeah. There's nothing worse than like the Zoom silence.
Yes, yeah, it's like, yeah. What are we going to do here? You know? Yeah, I'm going to fill in the space because, you know, nobody's doing. So usually the one, you know, who are more active and proactive, you know, they fill in the space. But in the end, what was the agreement? What was our understanding? How was that valuable for us? You know, And this sharing, it's very important, really very important. Because the people who are sharing and say with their own words, you know, how was the gift? What was the gift of this, let's say, meeting, you know? What did I take out of this meeting for myself? How was this meeting? How was this time spent together enriched me or whatever, you know? If they are saying this, they are much more motivated.
Definitely. No, it's a great model, the coach model of the meeting.
Yeah, I think it's really, it's a really, really cool coach model of a meeting. And what I would like to see is that Monica is one of our role models, and she's a coach, and she also offers for our members 30 minutes free session coaching. I think this is important for you all to know. So please join us and just become a member, and then you can also get coaching by Monica. I think it's very, very interesting what you were saying. Monica, because there are no questions from the others coming, I do have one last question, and maybe you can answer this in a very short sentence. I think examples of role confusions you mentioned in the beginning, I think this is very, very important, but how do you deal with that? How do you stop people from over or underperforming? How do you do this? Just imagine it's your boss, and he, of course, and he or she or whatsoever, role confusion. What do you do? How do you, this is what you were saying, how do you deal with this? You have it in real life all the time, but in real life, you go have a coffee with your colleague just saying, hey, these guys are just like unbelievable. How do you deal with this in a virtual world, or is it the same than you do in normal world?
I think, yeah, it's the same because, well, the question, first of all, as I said, you know, I'm a coach, so I'm in my best position. You know, I'm an external coach. So when somebody comes with this, and when let's say, for instance, complaining, you know, of transforming a professional issue into a personal one, so which is the most common thing, you know, I say, well, what did you know, I put him to or her to observe, you know, what do you observe to your thoughts? How is this? What do you need to change here yourself? How is this person
as a coach? Yeah. These are not possible for me if I'm a team member to just like, this is, I just think we have these examples all the time. You can do this as a coach, which I think is important. And therefore, I also believe that the topic you are addressing today, that this is important, that those meetings, and we will have more of these in the future, that they really can enjoy a kind of a coach model for at least 2 or 3 sessions, so they know how to deal with this, because none of us was trained with that. And I think you also mentioned something else where I think it's really important, agenda. And I have to admit, we for the big meetings, of course, outside I have one, but sometimes I don't have one. Of course, how much time do we spend on each topic? That I think is also super, super important. So clear structures.
Yeah.
But having said that, Monica, is there anything you would like to let us know? Because we are slightly coming to the end of this session. And again, you can all join and meet Monica on our platform. But do you have something to say to us to finish up this masterclass?
I think you are amazing and you are doing a great job. And I like this platform. So that's my last word.
My last word then is you are amazing. It was a wonderful masterclass. And again, I'm happy we recorded it. We will use it. We will also provide it to you, so you can also work with that. And Monica, thank you so, so much. And everyone in Romania, and I think the other ladies are in Romania, and they're there. And thank you very, very much. I'm very proud that we do have a big group from Central Europe, and Romania is one place. I'm absolutely happy. Andrea in London. I am in Switzerland, and I would like to say everyone who joined today, thank you so much. Monica, thank you for
too.
Excellent masterclass. Have a wonderful day, and please join us who is not still on this platform. And yeah, having said that, I would say thank you very much and goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.